Hello, citizens. Councilor Gian-Carlo Carra here, speaking on an interesting land use item that's coming to the February 8th public hearing of council. I actually won't be there. I'm going to be in Ottawa on a sustainability conference run by the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. But I am a member of Calgary Planning Commission, and I was part of the recommendation to approve this moving to council. This is taking place in the communities of Greater Forest Lawn, actually on the south side of International Avenue, in sort of the triangle between the CN tracks, Dover, Forest Lawn, and 52nd Avenue, right along 50th Avenue, or 50th Street, excuse me. Bedford House is a federally regulated halfway house. So people coming out of the serious penitentiaries either get dropped off into society and have to make their way on their own, or they move through a halfway house process that has been proven to reduce recidivism, aid in making people productive citizens again, and just getting them out of the prison mentality and back into the citizen mentality. John Howard Society, which is based in Inglewood, runs Bedford House, and Bedford House is currently located in the Victoria Park area. There has been, over the years, a number of fights about where Bedford House should go, and it's all stemming from the fact that the Stampede Board made the decision to remove Bedford House from where they're currently located, which is on Stampede lands. As a matter of fact, back in 2007, I worked with the communities of Sun Alta and Scarborough to oppose the original location for the original relocation area in a back corner of Sun Alta where Bedford House was proposing to relocate. I thought that was a tremendously inappropriate place to go, and at the time I was working as a community activist. I was known as a community activist, and I was asked by those communities to help build a case why that was a bad place for them to go. My argument at that time was that Bedford House should stay where it is, and that best practices in these really essential but hard to locate social services is that you need to build a lasting and meaningful relationship with host communities. Victoria Park, of course, is a ravaged zone that is only now growing up into an urban community, and it's the perfect place, especially with the Stampede and Western values, to really create a meaningful and long-lasting relationship, an existing use, new residents, talking, and all of the amazing values of the Stampede. Unfortunately, mistakes of the past, the decision was made to get them out of there, and it really became a question of where to locate it. The second place that was proposed was in industrial Manchester, not too far from the community of Park Hill. In 2010, council made the decision to locate it there, and with an extensive amount of public consultation, the establishment of a really ironclad good neighbor agreement and all kinds of protocols, Park Hill acquiesced that they would allow in the industrial zone, not too far from them, this use to take hold and to start. I have issues with it in the sense that it's not really embedded in a community. It's sort of out in the industrial zone, and it doesn't, I think, send the right kind of best practices message of reintegration into society. But that's where they're going. Now the problem is they're sort of in this chicken and egg situation. They have to move into the new location. In order to move into the new location, they have to build it. In order to build it, they need to have the money that the land sale from their current location is going to afford them. And over time, with a pretty acrimonious expropriation hearing, what's come down is the fact that their lease there is expiring, and they need to have basically 3 years somewhere else before they can move into their new built area. They can't finish or complete or do the construction in their new zone until the expropriation hearing awards them their final land sale total. So that's what brings February 8th issue forward. In a frantic search to find a place suitable to locate them on a temporary basis, a city-owned affordable housing unit from an earlier era was identified in 50th Avenue in this sort of back corner of Greater Forest Lawn. And the challenge is, if they don't have a surety of use on that site by March, they're going to lose their federal license and not be able to operate a halfway house, which means that hardened criminals who are coming back into society moving to Calgary are not going to have that really important and effective transition. So, what's happening is recognizing that we're between a rock and a hard place, recognizing that this is a temporary use. Councillor Chabot and I have worked with the John Howard Society and their consultants and with city staff and with the neighborhoods of Greater Forest Lawn to ensure, number one, that this is ironclad temporary. The land use is a temporary land use. In order to make it permanent, they're going to have to go through a whole rigmarole, go back to CPC, and it's been very clearly stated that this can only exist for a very short period of time. I think they're given 5 years. They're hoping to be out in 3 years. Number two, we have to make it very clear that the communities of Greater Forest Lawn understand that this is a societally necessary thing, but that they're taking one for the whole city on this, in this case, and that the consideration that's being given to International Avenue, the $100 million that we're spending rebuilding the avenue, that we have to be willing to appreciate and work even more with the communities of Greater Forest Lawn, who we want to see this amazing revitalization take place in. And the third thing is, between now and them moving in, we have to make sure that we have an ironclad good neighbor agreement, basically based on the very successful one that was built around their future permanent site in Manchester outside of Park Hill. But we will work very closely to make sure that happens. I hope that with those things in place, we can take care of this use for a short period of time and then move it into its more permanent home. Thanks, citizens. Talk to you soon.